Greetings once again, saints and friends and loved ones. This is Pastor Mario Jenkins coming to you once again. So grateful as always to have another opportunity to share the word of the Lord with you. This is my greatest passion. Is doing work for the Lord is something that I literally feel I was born to do, and I'm excited for the opportunity always to speak on His behalf. Whether my speech is eloquent or not, I'm grateful for the opportunity to do it, and thankful for you, the viewer, who has thought it not robbery to listen to this humble man from Central Florida. So we're grateful as always. Listen, this subject of masculinity is very important. I think it's a very important topic and very important subject. It's a very under dealt with. I don't know the term. It's a very underappreciated topic. A lot of resources out here for women's ministries and women, focus our books and resources and ministries for edifying a woman, and that's not bad. I'm not against women, and let me say this from the onset. I have a wonderful wife, a beautiful wife who is the center of my life, other than the Most High, of course. But she is everything to me, and it's really out of my love for her that I seek out opportunities to be the very best that I can be, so that I may prove that her prayers for me are not in vain, and then her effort, for me is not in vain. The Bible lets us know that the husband is sanctified by the wife, and the wife is sanctified by the husband. Marriage is a wonderful thing, and it's very powerful spiritually, and that's why it's under such great attack. God created three institutions: marriage, government, and church. Okay, out of the three institutions, marriage is the only institution that was created before, that came to be before the fall. Marriage was instituted in Genesis 2, and the fall came in Genesis 3. So, Eve was a part of the fall, but their marriage, their union was before the fall. Everything else, the church and the government, were both instituted after the fall, but the family was instituted before the fall, and that's why Satan has set his sight. He's really set his mark on marriage, and as he did in Genesis, at the very beginning, so he's doing now. Is the way to destroy the family is through the man's weakness. The man's weakness is always has been, as a woman. The woman's weakness has always been words. She can be manipulated easier because women are wordy. They like words. They can express themselves better with words. It's their strength and weakness. And the opposite is men. Men's strength is his sight. Men are observers. We're seers. We are the watchmen over our family. And when a man is in his strongest role and in his best role and best function in his family is when he's looking out for dangers. He's looking out for his family. He's a watchman. But at the same time, a man's weakness is his eyes, because it's where lust comes in, and men are attracted to get out of the will of God by what they see. I shared this with another couple, how that, when in a marriage, usually when the woman wants to spice things up, she wants some words, or a card, or a poem, or or something like that. Whereas the men, want to spice things up. She wants her to wear something, So, women are drawn to words, men are drawn to what they see. Now, that's a function of our leadership role men, we should lead our families in accordance to what we see. But when we are blind, when the man is blind because of lust and because of looking at the wrong things, that we're unable to protect our families, even when we're looking at ourselves, when we're looking at what our own accomplishments and being selfish with what the Most High has given, the gifts and things that the Most High has given to us, and we're looking at ourselves as opposed to looking out for our families, then we're out of line and we're out of order. And one of the greatest ways, and I'm going to keep this video, try to keep it as short as I can, but one of the greatest ways the enemy uses to get men out of place is by what he sees and using the lust of the eyes. And I want to talk today about the importance of sexual purity, the importance of sexual accountability, and how that being out of accountability and not being pure sexually can not only endanger you, but it will also literally endanger everyone you have influence with. So in the Bible, Genesis 34, it's a wonderful account of Dinah. Dinah is the daughter of Jacob, and Dinah gets noticed by this prince named Shechem. Now Shechem, the Bible says that Shechem saw Dinah, then he took Dinah, laid with her, and defiled her. Okay, so in that you see the trail from seeing to defiling. The end of lustful seeing is always defilement. That's the end of it. So whenever there's lust and it brings forth, it comes forth, it ends up in death, in defilement. And so Shechem had this, he erred in taking Dinah and defiling her. Now, the Bible says that, and I won't read it, but I need you to go and read it. It's Genesis 34. It's very interesting. Jacob hears about it. He stays quiet about it at first because he knows his sons. He knows Levi and Simeon and all of his sons, but he knows those two in particular. We're going to see their attitude in that chapter. But he holds it close for a while. And then eventually he shares it out to Simeon and Levi. Now, by the time he shares it out to his sons, Shechem basically fell in love with the woman he defiled. That's what happens when there's unnatural or forbidden sexual contact. Always ends up in soul ties. You have to understand that the act of marriage, the physical union of a man and a woman, is reserved for marriage only. And when it happens outside of marriage, there's a spiritual thing that happens. And you leave some of your body with that individual, and that individual leaves some of their body with you. The Bible says that when a man goes into a harlot, he becomes one with her. And so the act of marriage, the sexual act, has a consequence, and the consequence is a soul tie. A lot of times in this world we live in, this hookup kind of culture that we live in, very, very casual about sexual interactions. That's, by the way, that's a strategy of Satan, is to make sex very casual, so that you never really understand the implications of it, particularly as men. Particularly with men, but I digress. Shechem fell in love with the woman, so much so that he asked his father, Hamor, to go to Jacob to ask Jacob if Shechem could marry Dinah, the same girl that he defiled. He wants to wife her now. Okay. Now, by this time, Simeon and Levi heard what Shechem did to Dinah, and they want blood. They want blood. The plan was hatched that, well, since Shechem loved Dinah so much, let's see how much he loved her. Let's see what he'd do to marry her. So Levi and Simeon say, hey, you want to marry our sister? This is what you got to do. You got to get circumcised. Now, I'm talking about a grown man, and you all know what circumcision is. You got to really be, sprung, as the word, if I could use that. I mean, no offense, but you really got to be, hooked on this girl to do that. That's an undertaking. But listen, Shechem was so in love with her that not only did he think that him getting a circumcision was a good idea, he decided to ask his dad to get all the men and let's make a league. Let's make a league with this family. Let's our daughters marry their sons and their daughters marry our sons, and it's just let's come together and make it a national thing. So Shechem and Hamor go and meet with the men at the gate and all the men that they have influence with, and they convince these men to get circumcised, not even knowing that the circumcision really wasn't to prove their loyalty, it was to weaken them, you see. And so after they do it, they get the circumcision done. Simeon and Levi said, and the Bible says that on the third day when the men were sore, when these men were sore, it's in Genesis 34, and the third day when these men were sore, here comes Levi and here comes Simeon, and they go and they kill all of these men who had been weakened because they were sore. They were at a disadvantage. They couldn't defend themselves. Okay? And that's somewhat the spiritual condition we find ourselves in the world today. Our men have basically castrated themselves, and because of an initial lust, okay, a seed of lust. The seeds of lust have been planted in their lives, whether it's through pornography or whether it's through the crazy uncle or dad that told you that the way to become a man is to have as many women as possible, and not just heterosexual stuff. I mean, the homosexual stuff and pedophilia and all of that stuff. All kinds of sexual seeds are planted to weaken the men, and when the men are weakened, they can't defend their families, they can't defend their cities, they can't defend their churches, they can't defend their communities. And so, one man's lust turned into the destruction of an entire nation of men. And, this shows the impact that lust can have. When you have men that fall with great influence, it plants seeds. It plants seeds. I remember as a young man, seeing Jimmy Swaggart and seeing the tears, and before that, I didn't even know what a prostitute was. I learned about what a prostitute was by, this man that I was saved at this conference in 1984. He's on TV crying because he's been with a prostitute. Well, there I was. I mean, I'm talking about I was 15, 16 years old, didn't know what a prostitute was. And so now, that's always has had an impact on me. Not only can preachers have sex outside of marriage, but they have these prostitutes and all kinds of crazy stuff. And that impacted not just me, but the whole nation. And you never know. Now, of course, the Most High will forgive you. And I pray he receives forgiveness, but the seed's been planted. That's what sexual sin does. So it's important. It's important, gentlemen and ladies, that we always manage our sexual lives in holiness. That is, one wife, one lifetime. Ladies, one husband, one lifetime. Gentlemen, young men, if you're still virgins, hold on to your virginity. Don't believe the lie that you have to be sexually promiscuous just to be a man. That's not being a man. That's being a boy. That's not really being a boy. It's more like being an animal. What the world wants to do is get people to the place of acting like animals, and to defile themselves. I'm reminded of the children of Israel. The children of Israel, King Balak wanted to curse the children of Israel, but Balaam says, I couldn't curse them because they're blessed. Well, even though they were blessed, they could curse themselves through adultery and fornicating and marrying and intermarrying with people who the Most High told them not to marry. So sexual accountability is a part of being a man. And when you're sexually accountable and you living right and you living holy, then you are empowered to do what you're supposed to do. But when you are sore, like the men, Shechem and Hamar's men, when you are sore from a pseudo circumcision, a circumcision that was implemented so that somebody can get with someone they had defiled with it in the first place, then that weakens men. Okay, and so that's why we have so many weak men in the world today. But we can recover. The Most High can heal us, and He will do so. So I pray that this was a blessing to you. I pray that you receive something. Again, share our videos, share my videos with people, and let them know that there's somebody telling the truth and nothing more. This is Pastor Mario Jenkins signing out. God bless you. We love you. Stay tuned for the next one.